There is a county in western Minnesota that holds 1,048 lakes. That is more lakes than any other county in the entire United States. And rising out of the middle of that watery maze is a ridge of grassy hills where you can climb above it all and watch the water stretch toward the horizon. This is Maplewood State Park, and the hill under our boots this afternoon is called Hallaway Hill. Locals will tell you the view from the top is one of the finest in this half of the state. We are going up to see if they are right. Let us get oriented first. We are in Otter Tail County, Minnesota, about halfway up the western side of the state. The nearest town is Pelican Rapids, a small city of roughly 2,600 people, sitting 7 miles to our west. Fargo and the North Dakota line lie less than an hour beyond that. Maplewood State Park itself spreads across more than 9,000 acres of steep wooded hills and spring-fed lakes, the kind of country that surprises anyone who still believes Minnesota is flat. The trail up Hallaway Hill is simple and honest. It is a mowed path through knee-high prairie grass, climbing about 150 feet from the trailhead near Lake Leda to a bare, open summit. The whole walk up and back covers under 1.5 miles. It is late July and the hillside is humming with insects while the grasses sway in the wind. There is no forest canopy on this slope, no shade, just sky. That openness is rare in this park, and it is exactly why the view ahead is so good. These hills have a name that sounds almost too grand for Minnesota. They are the Leaf Mountains, sometimes called the Leaf Hills, and they roll for roughly 50 miles through Otter Tail County, from near Fergus Falls east and northeast toward East Leaf Lake. They rise 100 to 300 feet above the surrounding farmland, and in places they push higher than 350 feet. That is real relief in a state famous for its level ground. Old surveyors described them as a tumbled, endless sea of knobs and hollows. From a distance, they look less like a range and more like a rumpled green blanket thrown over the prairie. So where did a mountain range in miniature come from? The answer is ice. During the last great glaciation, 2 enormous lobes of the ice sheet, the Wadena lobe and the Des Moines lobe, ground their way across this country from different directions. Where their margins met, they dumped their debris in overlapping ridges called moraines, a belt of broken rock, gravel, and clay 10 to 20 miles wide and some 200 miles long. In places, that pile of glacial drift is up to 350 feet thick. Everything we are climbing today is rubble left behind by ice. Keep that in mind as the slope steepens under our feet. This is not bedrock. There is no granite spine inside Hallaway Hill, just a chaotic heap of stones, until that has been resting here since the glaciers stalled and fell apart. Geologists call this ice stagnation terrain, born where the ice sheet stopped flowing and simply rotted away in place. Every knob, every hollow, every twist in this hillside is a fingerprint of that slow collapse. It may be the most beautiful pile of construction debris you will ever climb. The dying ice explains the water too. As the glaciers wasted away, huge orphan blocks of ice were buried in the rubble, some of them the size of city blocks. Insulated under gravel and sand, they took centuries to melt. When each block finally disappeared, the ground above it slumped into a deep bowl, and the bowl filled with water. Geologists call these kettle lakes, and this landscape is riddled with them. Nearly every lake you will see from the summit began as a block of stranded ice. Multiply that process across an entire county and you get something remarkable. Otter Tail County counts 1,048 lakes, more than any other county in the United States. The county takes its name from Otter Tail Lake and the Otter Tail River, and water defines life here the way mountains define Colorado. Resorts, cabins, and small farms thread between the basins. Minnesota licenses call this whole region Lakes Country, and from where we are headed, you can see exactly why. And here we are, the top of Hallaway Hill. The climb took only about 15 minutes, but the reward is completely out of proportion to the effort. The summit is bald and grassy, standing about 150 feet above the trailhead, with the land falling away in every direction. To the west, Lake Lita spreads out silver and blue. To the east, the wooded hills of the park roll away like waves. People drive across 3 counties just to stand where we are standing right now. Writers who cover Minnesota trails keep reaching for the same description here, a green and blue world of lakes, fields, and woods. That is exactly what it is. Lake Lita dominates the foreground, big enough for sailboats and walleye fishermen. Beyond it, kettle ponds wink between the hills like scattered coins. Farm fields fill the flats, woodlots crown the ridges, and on a clear day the horizon simply runs out of detail before the land runs out of lakes. It is regularly named one of the finest overlooks in western Minnesota. Take a moment up here and read the landscape like a map. Notice how the west side of the view is open, all fields and water and grass. Now look east, where the hills climb and darken with hardwood forest. That line is not an accident, and it is not just farming. We are standing on one of the great natural borders of North America, and it runs straight through this park. Hallaway Hill is one of the few places where you can see both sides of it in a single glance. Maplewood sits in the transition zone where the western tallgrass prairie collides with the eastern hardwood forest. For thousands of years, prairie fires swept in off the flatlands to the west, killing young trees and keeping the country open. But the rough hills and the maze of lakes acted as fire breaks, sheltering the slopes that faced away from the flames. Behind that shelter, hardwoods took root and held on. The result is a stitched border of grass and forest, running diagonally across Minnesota, and this park preserves one of its finest surviving pieces. The sheltered side of that border is what gave the park its name. The hills east of us carry a classic northern hardwood forest of sugar maple, basswood, American elm, and oak. Maple woods like these once stretched in a broken band across much of central Minnesota, and here they climb slopes steep enough that the plow never followed. In summer, the canopy closes into a cool green vault. Walk under it and the prairie heat drops away in a few steps. It is a completely different world from the sunburned hill we are standing on. We will wander the summit ridge for a while because a view like this deserves more than one angle. The wind up here never really quits, combing through the grass in long silver waves. Swallows ride the updrafts off the hillside. Below, a pontoon boat draws a slow white line across Lake Leda. It is the kind of scene that makes you talk quietly, even with no one else around. Now imagine this same view in the first week of October. Sugar maple turns scarlet and orange, basswood and elm go gold, and the oaks smolder in bronze, all of it doubled in the mirrors of the lakes. Maplewood is famous across the region for its autumn color, and this overlook is one of the most photographed fall vantage points in western Minnesota. On peak weekends, cars line the park road below us. The park delivers a display of fall colors every single year, as dependable as the season itself. People found this country long before there was a park, or a state, or a name on a map. Within the park boundaries, archaeologists have documented a pre-contact habitation site, a place where people lived in two separate eras, once between about 650 and 900, and again between about 1450 and 1650. The site was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. The Ojibwe knew these hills as Goskebag-Wajuan, the Rustling Leaf Mountains, a name that still fits on any windy afternoon. It is worth remembering up here that this view has been admired for well over 1,000 years. Time to start down the hill, with Lake Leda filling the view ahead like a painted backdrop. Going down, you feel the shape of the moraine in your knees, short steep pitches, little shelves, nothing smooth or graded about it. The mowed path swings wide through the grass. Grasshoppers scatter ahead of every step. And as we descend, let us pick up the human story of this corner of Minnesota, because it is a good one. The modern chapter begins on the Pelican River, where a set of rapids powered the dreams of a frontier town. Pelican Rapids was platted in 1872 and named for those rapids. Settlers, many of them Scandinavian immigrants, spread through the lake country to farm, and lumber and agriculture became the twin industries of Otter Tail County. Fergus Falls grew into the county seat the same year, boosted by the coming railroad. Within a generation, the wild moraine country had become a working landscape of fields, pastures, and small crossroads towns. Pelican Rapids also gave the world one of the great American roadside monuments. In 1957, the town built Pelican Pete, a concrete and plaster pelican standing more than 15 feet tall at the base of the dam on the Pelican River. He is claimed as the largest pelican statue in the world, and he has been photographed by travelers for nearly 70 years. For his 50th anniversary in 2007, the town added about 3 dozen smaller pelicans, each 4 feet tall and decorated by local artists. A town that builds a giant bird and then throws it a birthday party is a town worth visiting. Modern Pelican Rapids is more than a photo stop. The census counts a strikingly international small town, with about a third of its residents Hispanic or Latino and a significant black community, families drawn from around the world to work and settle in Lakes Country. That makes it one of the most diverse small cities on the Minnesota prairie. It is a reminder that these quiet hills have never stopped collecting new arrivals. First the ice, then the forests, then the farmers, and the story keeps going. The land we are walking through carries the memory of that farming era. Across these hills, settlers worked fields and pastures wherever the slopes allowed, and the moraine country filled with barns, fence lines, and grazing cattle. But steep, stony, kettle-pocked ground is hard farming, and much of it stayed in woods and rough pasture. That accident of geology is why so much of this landscape survived intact. The glacier, it turns out, was quietly protecting its own work. By the middle of the 20th century, Minnesotans recognized what they had here, a rare surviving sweep of hills, lakes, and hardwoods on the prairie border. In 1965, Maplewood became a state park. Today it protects 9,250 acres, making it one of the larger state parks in Minnesota. Old fields are being restored to prairie, and the maple woods climb the ridges much as they always have. What was once dozens of separate farms and woodlots now reads as a single, unbroken landscape. Down on the lower slopes, the trail levels out and the summit already feels far away. Look back and Hallaway Hill stands green against the sky, with the mowed path stitched up its shoulder like a seam. It is a small climb by any mountain standard, but few mountain trails hand over this much country for 15 minutes of effort. That trade, small climb for huge reward, is the signature of hiking in the Leaf Hills. The park itself holds more than 20 lakes threaded among its hills. Lake Leda is the giant, with a swimming beach and walleye and northern pike in its depths. Beers Lake anchors the quiet interior, and Little Bass Lake draws anglers after stock trout. Two of the lakes have boat landings, and paddlers can slip between hills that rise straight from the waterline. In one afternoon here you can summit an overlook, swim a beach, and cast for 3 different kinds of fish. There is one more remarkable thread running through these hills. The North Country National Scenic Trail, about 4,800 miles long, passes directly through Maplewood State Park. It is the longest trail in the National Scenic Trail system, running from Lake Sakakawea in North Dakota across 8 states to the Green Mountains of Vermont, where it meets the Appalachian Trail. Through hikers walking it spend months crossing prairie, forest, and lakeshore. For a few miles of that epic journey, they walk these same glacial hills we are exploring today. So a walker on this ground is in serious company. On any summer day, these paths carry day hikers, birders, horseback riders, and sometimes a long-distance hiker bound for Vermont with a season of walking still ahead. Everyone gets the same hills, the same wind, the same water. The park absorbs them all without ever feeling crowded. 9,000 acres of folded terrain is very good at hiding people from each other. For travelers, the numbers here are generous. Maplewood offers about 25 miles of hiking trail and 20 miles of horseback trail, one of the best saddle networks in any Minnesota state park. There are 71 drive-in campsites, backpack sites, a horse camp, and 5 camper cabins, several of them open year-round. Winter brings groomed cross-country ski trails and a snowshoe route through the silent hardwoods. This is a park built for staying, not just passing through. And Maplewood holds one genuine oddity. A regional author named Jim Fletcher, who wrote an adventure trilogy set in this landscape, worked with local students to build several miniature villages, and some of them stand inside the park, reachable only by hiking trail. Tiny structures appear among the trees like something out of a storybook. Families hike in specifically to find them. It may be the only state park in Minnesota where the trail map shares space with a fictional world. Before we leave, one more look from the high ground, because afternoons like this are why the overlook exists. The light has shifted, the lake has gone from silver to deep blue, and cloud shadows are sliding across the far hills like slow ships. No two visits to this summit show you the same view. That is the quiet genius of a landscape built from water and weather. It never stops rearranging itself. Spare a glance for the small things on the way out. The open hillside is a working prairie community, native grasses shoulder high by late summer, threaded with wildflowers and worked over by butterflies and bees. Ground nesting birds flush from the grass edges. This is the western half of that great border we saw from the summit, alive and functioning at ankle height. The big view gets the photographs, but the prairie underfoot is just as much the point of this park. The last steps come down easy, back toward the water where we started. Behind us, Hallaway Hill settles into the long rank of the Leaf Mountains, one grassy knob among 50 miles of them. Ahead, Lake Leda glitters through the trees, one lake among 1,048. That is the arithmetic of this county, and no other county in America can match it. Not bad for an afternoon and a mile and a half of walking. Maplewood State Park is proof that western Minnesota keeps its finest scenery folded out of sight, waiting above the lakes. If your travels bring you through lakes country, give this hill 15 minutes of climbing, and it will give you 50 miles of Minnesota in return. Come in October if you can, when the maples set these hills on fire. Thank you for watching. Follow for more of the trails of the world.